also nice is you're going to see is just the way that it brings it all together. So when we're talking about bringing in, these incredible workflows and ways to organize content in OneNote, it's really about being able to get a variety of content into the space so that you can interact with those different components. So if you're new to OneNote, like what are these features and these use cases? So one of the things that I think is interesting is it's not so much the tool, it's the experience that we want to see how the tool might be able to support the learning in a more meaningful way. So I think that that's the big difference is sometimes, you can start with the tool and say, well, what's possible? And then it's also interesting to see like, well, what are types of experiences that I want to see happen in my classroom? And then we can sort of figure out ways that those tools can be used sometimes in maybe not a traditional sense, but because we understand where we want to get to, what we want to accomplish, I think that can be really powerful. So if you want to just share in the chat some sort of ideas or ways that you think like interactive experiences can be powerful in the classroom, especially when we're talking about the remote classroom where students get to interact with content. Like what has that looked like in your classroom when we're talking about interactive experiences, and what could it look like? Because there are some really awesome ways to facilitate that in OneNote. So as you're sort of hearing me share ideas, and also as I'm running through this demo that I'll be starting in just a few minutes, what are those ways that you would like to see the experience be created via the technology versus, well, this is the tool, to add this or that, and then, this is what, results because we're looking at it from a tool perspective. So what I imagine when I'm thinking about like, what are ways that we could support different types of experiences is one of the pieces is the self-paced and the asynchronous experience. One of the things that I've observed in my own children doing distance learning, myself as an educator, and also the process of interacting and hearing from educators is that there are some students that thrive in the environment where they can just be self-paced. And there are certain students that might be able to complete a semester's worth of work in, half the time. And you have to be able to figure out ways to support that. And I wish that it didn't take pandemic, learning to have that happen. But there is this self-paced component that's really powerful. I think that OneNote organizes it in a really nice package that your LMS and disconnected assignments aren't going to necessarily be able to facilitate. The other piece is that that asynchronous learning. So I've heard from teachers. I mean, no one knows what it's going to look like in the fall, like right now. Every week there's a new insight, a new way that, oh, maybe this is how it's going to happen. And one of the things that I heard recently was teachers, and share in the chat, what you imagine this is going to look like, or what you've heard this is going to look like. But what I heard from some educators was, if you have a class of, let's say, 25, 30 students, so you're going to have like a batch of 5 to 10 on Monday, and then Tuesday you'll have a new group, and you're going to have to asynchronously support the students, or it's like a live hybrid where some will be remote on Zoom or like whatever, or Teams or whatever platform you're using, and then you're going to have also live students. So I think that the more independence we can give the students with clarity and academic expectations, it's going to free us up to really support students in groups as individuals, because they know what the expectation is. That goes into that student choice as well, where you can break up the learning via experience and via topic and via themes and all these different ways that we want to be able to do it. You can do it inside of the OneNote. I love the multiple forms of communication and content that is embedded and literally is nested in it. So no more, the days of like hyperlinking out to somewhere else is gone as far as OneNote is concerned. And then there's some really awesome collaborative possibilities where you can share OneNotes not just as consumers, but also as creators. And there's ways to do that with a regular notebook, and then there's also the class notebooks. Now, the workflow that I'm going to show you today is based off of my entrepreneurship curriculum. So I'm a director of innovation at a boys' high school, and I oversee the STEAM department, and I also run an entrepreneurship program. And I have created my entrepreneurial workflow in OneNote. I'm going to show you a couple sections of that. And one of the things that I like to do is I start with an audio, sort of a prep or a pep, and to try to get them excited and interested, give them clarity. What are the expectations? It's done via audio. It could also be done through text, but I feel like audio is just a better way to consume certain types of information. And I had really good experiences actually doing my own graduate work where my professors were introducing different topics or introducing the week via audio that was nested in an Evernote. Of course, there wasn't really, I don't think OneNote existed in 2012, 2013, but don't quote me on that. So I have that audio. Then I try to pull some sort of interesting video content. It could be my own video content, but they're usually tired of consuming my videos. So I'm going to find some video that's relevant, and it just gives them an opportunity to get the content in a video format. It's usually a short video, and then I have some sort of guiding questions to get some sort of feedback to make sure that they're able to progress through. So those guided questions can be done in a Microsoft form and embedded, and the YouTube video is embedded. It plays inside of the OneNote. You can submit the content in OneNote via the Google Forms, and then you can also add a Flipgrid experience where maybe they are actually creating a video reflection or video assessment. And guess what? That Flipgrid grid is embedded in the OneNote. So I'm a huge fan of the fact that all these things so far can be embedded. You can embed an article via a link. You can do some screenshots, and you can even embed it as a PDF if you do one of those like print to PDF websites, because I think that that's something that's super powerful. The annotation or writing activity, I think it's nice that you can have the students, in the OneNote actually annotating content in that notebook. So you could share a page, or you could share that notebook with the students, and they have the ability to annotate as well. And then you could finish off with some sort of closing activity. Now, the components of, or actually, I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to actually get into OneNote. So there's two versions of OneNote, and just want to make sure that I am sharing the right one. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the desktop. So the desktop, and it is a little confusing sometimes for me, and I think for others as well. Like the features, sometimes there's things that are on the web and they're not there on the OneNote desktop version. I'm just a huge fan of dark mode, so that's why I like to gravitate towards the desktop version. But this is, I'm going to sort of walk you through this process of like how I organize this content, and what am I doing for my students so that they can get this interactive experience. So the first thing that you do is you have this little bookshelf here, right? And this bookshelf, can drop in, it can drop out, and you have your notebooks over here. Okay, so you're able to add a notebook if you go over there. And so if you're going to follow along with me right now, so you would add a notebook, and you can make a new notebook. You can choose a color. You can name it. I love that you can add emojis into the name. So that's always super nice. And so you could actually, when I'm doing brainstorm, right, I always go right? Do something like that. And then you just press enter, you create that notebook. And that's, that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so into my entrepreneurship curriculum here. So you have your notebook, and then you have all of these sections, right? You can add a section, you can color code them. What I try to do, just because like I'm a design nerd, is I will create a color code system that is prevalent throughout the entire design, so people just, the students know where they're at. So I'll even make sure that in this, identifying phase of the entrepreneurial process, everything's going to have some sort of orange theme to it. And what I do here, I can add more pages as I build this out. So I have like the overview. I don't have my full curriculum inside OneNote yet, but that's my summer goal. But I do have some of the components that I was able to introduce to the students prevalent, throughout here. I wonder why that, yeah, right, throughout here. And I'm going to go through these first two sections to showcase some of the ways that I've seen just some really cool, cool methods of bringing things in. So the first is that audio, right? And the audio, if you go over to insert, you're going to see here, you can insert your files, you can insert printouts, you can insert pictures. And then, as I said before, that screenshot where you're able to screenshot any of the windows that it's able to pull up, or you could just go do the screen clipping yourself. But this is just super quick because you could have a web page open and you're able to just snap that. And I think that that's really awesome. For anyone here that is a math educator or has a best friend that's a math educator, there's some really powerful equation potential here. I'm not going to focus too much on that, but you should just know that that's there. Now, one of the interesting things that I honestly haven't used much, but I've seen it demoed, and it is pretty powerful, is that you're actually able to set up meetings if you can sync, if you're a Microsoft school and you have that calendar component, you can actually sync meetings into your notes. And I don't know, I didn't expect that to be something that was interesting, but somebody showed me, a use case for it. I'm at a disadvantage because I'm not a Microsoft school, so I can't fully demo some of these things, but I can at least share it, which was just that it was able to keep everybody's notes and meetings connected in a way that I don't know, I didn't think that was a thing, but it was definitely there. Of course, you can add shapes over here. You can add audio recording. You can also add stickers. So if you have a student create a notebook and they share it with you, and that notebook is sort of, it could be used as a portfolio for student work. It can be used as just a place where students are presenting and sharing work. I'm not sure about turning in work, because I think we really, as educators, still want to have our LMS, whatever it is, to just be able to assign work and have them turn it in and grade it in like a nice streamlined way. So I don't see OneNote doing that, but there is some sort of formative assessment, even with stickers here, where you can demonstrate some really cool things. You could also just add some cool stickers into your design, if that's something that tickles your fancy. The other piece is the drawing. So if you're on a touch screen, like a Surface or some sort of touchscreen laptop, if you're on an iPad, so the drawing potential here is super awesome, and you can do a lot of really cool things. Of course, drawing, annotation. You could have students that are just doing hand created notes, and then you're actually able to. It's pretty awesome with my. Hold on, let me try to do this. And then you're actually able to. Oh, did I do that wrong? There's a way to turn it into text. And it's not working right now. All right, I thought I could do that. I'll think about it and come back to it. So you have the audio, you have the draw ability, you have this ability to insert content. So what I end up doing is, I introduce, you could look at this as like, it's a full semester curriculum framework, but you have your introduction, and then you get into the different phases. So I have my audio, then I'm able to embed a video. So this was literally go to YouTube, right? I'll go to YouTube right now, and then I can demonstrate how simple this is. All right, so you go over here, you just literally copy this. Since it's an entrepreneurship course, I'll add another video. Around entrepreneurship. So you just paste that in and bam, it's in there. It's good to go. It's pretty incredible. So inserting video content is now in there. It plays in line. You don't have to go out and which tab and where was it. Self-contained. Same with Teams. I'm really fascinated with that workflow of keeping things self-contained. It's not easy, and there's very few platforms that are successfully doing it. I mentioned Wakelet earlier. They're a big integrator with Microsoft, and I like the way that they can nicely integrate different forms of content. But OneNote is just sort of like mind-blowing over here. So then I have my discussion questions, and I can actually have them fill out the form. So this part is a little bit frustrating. I don't know why it is like this, and I'll just share once again. If you have any questions or something is confusing or whatever it is, use the chat. It's my oxygen, my lifeblood as I'm connecting with all of you awesome educators. And I'm just going to put that out there. So you have your Microsoft form. Now I'm going to show you, because right now it says fill out the form. So I have to actually click this and it opens up the form in a web page. So that's kind of annoying because I want everything to integrate. So I actually have to go, and I'm going to show you right now, I have to go to the web version. So this is why I kind of like the web version a little bit better, is because with the web version, okay, not only do these videos play, and not only does this audio play, welcome, right? I'm not going to play my own audio, but it's basically me welcoming them to this area. But now the questions are all inside, and then of course, because nothing can be perfect, so the shape line that I used for a page break was cutting off inside in the form. But with this form, it's there, and then they can fill these in and they can submit them all in line. So you don't have to send them out to the form and it's another tab. And I don't know, I just think that that's pretty cool, right? So then I can have them, going through different content. I can still hyperlink, of course. I can do different screenshots where, if these were bigger or something that were, bigger in size, you could actually have them annotating, different parts of the website. If it's in the case of this website, it's a startup and basically like a business analysis website, and there's a bunch of different categories and different areas on the site, and I actually have the students review the site and break up into little groups and discuss and review, what each section of the platform means. Like, what does it mean when, a company acquires another company, or what does it mean, the different seed rounds that are being invested in? And we were just talking with my students, even though we're done now 3 weeks, I still have students requesting time to meet with me, and they were just talking about, DoorDash just got like $400 million in funding, and they're like, why do they need that right now? But the context was, analyzing this platform, and it can be done, via OneNote. Also analyzing research and understanding, what makes a really great, question when you're looking at getting, getting data around a certain, research theme, research strain. Then, of course, additional resources. And then here over with this is cool, is that I could add a Word doc and it's ready to go. And so this is actually a research assignment that they have to go through, where they have to analyze, different themes, a TED Talk, an invention tutorial on Instructables, and there's another that I can't remember right now because I haven't taught that lesson since September, but it's all there and it's in the Word doc, so they can just click it. It opens up the Word doc and they can then make a copy, they can download it, and that's just, I don't know, it's really awesome that it's just there and it's quick and it's ready to go. And then, as I said before, the embedding of a Flipgrid, right? You just copy that Flipgrid link, just like that YouTube link, you paste it and it automatically populates, and then you're able to run through and add in a Flipgrid response. And I just think that that's, totally crazy, totally awesome. PDFs as well, discussion questions, you can have, different activities, but, the main premise, I think, is just the multiple levels and the variety of different types of media that can be put in here. I think it's just super awesome, super awesome. Okay, let's get back into that slide deck. Hold on, not sure why that's sharing that. Here, okay. All right, let me just double check that I'm actually sharing the screen that I want to share. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I want to spend just a few minutes. We're about 30 minutes in, so I think about 10 minutes. I want to just see how you can create one of these workflows. So if anyone wants to use the chat, ask some questions, I'm happy to work you through it. But I think that me talking about the platform is definitely not as helpful as you actually trying to engage and creating something, just trying it out, experimenting. So if you have questions, you can use the chat and let me know what you think. As far as the ease, the simplicity, you have questions, let me know. But I want to give some time to create and see what everyone is able to do. So the audio, the video, using the Microsoft the form, and just to show you real quick, because I actually realized I glossed over that in the web version. So let me just open that up real quick and show you. So when you're in the web version and you go to insert, so you have the forms here, and you're actually able to create a form or a quiz or pull from ones that you already have, and it's all tied into the account. So for anyone that isn't all too familiar, it was a little bit of a learning curve for me, which was just really understanding, like making sure you're in the right logins when you're creating these things and keeping track of it. I think it's similar to the Google environment, but I think the form piece, I wish it was on the desktop, but it's over here on the web version, and then you're able to actually embed those and make those actually run. So questions, if you want to share in the chat, let me know. But happy to run through and give feedback if everyone wants to run through. So I'll just pop up that workflow again because I think it's a nice model of a workflow. So being able to add that audio, I like the audio, and the audio can happen many times throughout the OneNote page. Is just using that audio to bring clarity and set expectations and introduce content. I like the audio. I think that the audio is something that is just a powerful addition. Bringing the video content in as well. And then Flipgrid or forms, but let's try to get 3 or 4 of these in, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So we'll do that for probably about like five or so minutes. That'll bring us to about 9:40, and then we'll finish up with some more different components that I think were pretty powerful. So if you have any questions, just use the chat. The chat's on your toolbar. And if you had, there are a couple people came in at some point in the midst of it. So just to kind of let you know what we're doing is we're experimenting in ways to use OneNote. And this is the workflow that I think has been pretty powerful, and it basically uses these different tools of recording audio to introduce content or to bring clarification. To also it keeps the canvas space a little more concise if you would versus having large paragraphs of explanatory text. Embedding videos, you can embed Microsoft Forms for guiding to answer guiding questions, or you can embed a Flipgrid, you can embed article content, and then students have the ability to annotate and write over the activity, and that's just something that's quite nice. Okay, so I wanted to share just a couple more components that I think will be helpful. So of course, this is all syncing over the cloud. It's auto saving. It's in the cloud for the web version, and let me just share my screen over here. So it is possible in OneNote. You can save as a PDF. You can export. Because one of the questions that was asked was like, how do you make a copy of a book? Now there is this whole class notebook component where you can distribute and set up students, and you have to be a Microsoft school to be able to do that. So I don't have that capacity. But I've seen it demoed, and it's pretty powerful. You can add a co-teacher, and you have the ability to copy contents, and then the students can interface with different components without writing or overwriting it. Because when I share, right, so I can send this copy of this this entrepreneurship framework, and anyone with the link is able to edit. I could turn that off or on, but that they would actually overwrite that if they started to add to it or to create. So I think that is just something that is worth noting. So there's that. Then I'm gonna just show you. Hold on, let me pull this down over here. All right. So on the web interface, so the web interface also has these Office add-ins, and you can open that up on the web interface, and you can search through all of these, and there's different add-ins that are some of them are pretty interesting, a lot of math focus. There's some design ones as well, which I thought was really cool. But you basically can take a look at those, and you can also go to the Microsoft Store to see many as well. But just you should know that that's possible with the web version. And then, just once again, same thing, that link setting, but just so you should know when sharing things, similar to a Google Doc. So it's nothing, nothing too crazy as far as that sharing process. One of the things that I think is nice about the web interface. Oh, and I forgot to mention. So this OneNote is, I don't know if they would officially call it like an infinity canvas, but this canvas sort of goes on forever, and then you can actually zoom out and see like a really large space. So you could keep going, as wide as you want, and that's pretty it's pretty awesome. The web version has Immersive Reader, so I think that's just something that is important to note and let you know what's going on there. If you're doing a collaborative document, so you have over here show authorship, and as you scroll, you'll see who's created what by this little like tree branch that connects to the content that's been created. There's also page versions where you can see when these different things were created. So I actually started to port over earlier in June all of my curricula framework for this course from other platforms. So actually, I was using Adobe XD. Actually, I made my framework into an interactive app that it let the students engage and move around and click around and connect with the content. So I think that's quite powerful. For those that aren't familiar with the Immersive Reader, so there's it's a really awesome way to get those that have dyslexia, tracking issues. They're able to adjust the font, the size. There's also, Comic Sans. As much as I detest that font, it actually is a font that helps with dyslexia. And you can also change the background as well as increasing the spacing. So this is all super, super awesome. You can set up and turn on parts of speech to get even just skill building for younger students, syllables. There's a lot of really awesome ways that you could bring in, of course, just the written content. So any questions? For better or for worse, I build all of my sessions with moments of interactivity. So that conversation, that connection. So if you have any thoughts, anything that you're curious about, or if you thought there was something and you didn't see me share it, whatever it is, let me know. And I'm happy to, answer those direct questions. Okay. Oh, awesome. Yay, questions. Web version of OneNote. I'm looking at the insert ribbon, but I don't see a video insert. Do you know why? Yeah. So this is it's kind of a weird it's a weird interface because you have this insert and has these other options. So if you have a link, it will automatically embed those things that are compatible. So if you go onto YouTube and you copy and paste, you go share on YouTube and you copy that unique video link, and then you come in here and you paste that link. Let me just, I'll demonstrate that again. So I copy this link over here and I just paste this link. Ready? It happens quite quickly. I paste the link, okay? And then it just embeds it. So I think it's pretty cool, but it is a little bit, I think, a little bit confusing because you're waiting for some sort of option that says like insert video. So the forms on the desktop version, you can paste the link, it will embed it. On the web version, you actually have a insert forms option on that ribbon. But for Flipgrid, for video content, you can paste all of those links in and get that content. So, just to sort of summarize, choosing images that can be engaging, video as well. You can plan out the interactivity. I could see OneNote actually working like a sort of like a HyperDocs experience because of all the different types of content that you can embed in there. You can actually, although I didn't mention it, I should, that you can insert a table as well. So you could organize your content in a grid and keep it, sort of organized and self-contained. The hyperlinking of objects. So it's not just about putting a list of hyperlinks. Those hyperlinks can actually bring that content into the OneNote. And then, looking at those additional, pieces of video content, as well as the ability to share. Just to sort of, finish off the ideas and the workflow and the way that I see OneNote is similar to really the way that I look at everything when I'm looking at the value that technology brings to the table. So I put a lot of that in my book, which you can get by scanning that QR code. It's the process of building a creative mindset and different activities next to each principle of creativity, whether it's collaboration, technology, empathy. And I'm always grateful for those that read the book. I have a book study if you reach out as well. I have also a newsletter that I'm, once again, as I shared in the beginning, if you scan that QR code, you can connect to that form and get that content as well. And I'm sharing, not just my own work, but spotlighting educators that are doing great work as well. And then I have a new Facebook community that has been really well received. We have about 500 educators from around the world, and they're all sharing their thoughts and sharing different ways that they're bringing creativity into their classroom, asking questions. And then, of course, we have a weekly creativity challenge that we're off to a good start and have a lot of participation. I want to thank everybody for being part of this session, analyzing, creative and epic workflows and ways to organize experiences in the classroom, not just for our students, but for ourselves, using OneNote. And then I just want to, because I'm really bad at recording the session from the beginning. I don't know why I was in here 10 minutes early and I forget to record it. I should just record that 10 minutes is what the truth is. But just wanted to hit that front page and say that I'd love to stay connected with you. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube. And I'm always excited to connect with different educators around the world and learn from them and share the work that I'm doing in my classroom, in my school, and beyond. So thank you so much. I appreciate whoever was able to attend tonight. I know it's late for some of us, early for others, but thanks again. And we'll hopefully be connected. I'll be running weekly sessions. I actually have a session on Thursday that I should probably share with you right now. That's actually earlier for the people that are in the U.S. It's going to be Thursday at 4 p.m., which is focused on the storytelling process. And I'm going to share with you the way that I bring storytelling into the classroom. It'd be great to have all of you there as well. So thank you so much for being part of this, and have a great rest of your evening or rest of your day.